was repealed, it would have been impossible for any organisation to have undertaken the task that General Motors Holden has undertaken. And following upon that, the Commonwealth Government, in many discussions in which I took part myself and with other ministers, came to an understanding with General Motors Holden that they would engage on what, in a country of this size, is a very gigantic venture. The most governments are ever able to do for any industry is to give them help and sympathy in the project they have in hand. And that's the most that the Commonwealth Government or any other government could do in this particular project. That we have tried to do, and it gives me a very great pleasure here today because I was the Minister and the Treasurer associated with those original discussions. Therefore, naturally, I'm very glad to see that fruition has been reached in connection with this project. Around the country today, there are magnificent opportunities. Never has such marvellous opportunities offered to a young country before. I speak, perhaps with undue pride in the country to which I belong, of the possibilities, not only of its development in this country, within its own borders, but its opportunities to supply to other people in the Pacific and Southeast Asia many of the things that in days to come they will require. I know that this project, which you are here to celebrate the inauguration of, is one of great economic value. But overall, it's human relationships. The relationship with the United States of America and this country. The project with which you are here today is only another link in that relationship. It was proved to us with double emphasis in the last war that when we were here on the perimeter of the Pacific, needing things badly, in fact in hundreds of cases and thousands of cases, we had to improvise for the things that are necessary for our own protection and to render with that help with our allies sought, including the United States of America, who joined with us in this Pacific fight. We want this country to be able to provide these things, not only for ordinary economic reasons, but for the purposes of always being in a position to take that part in the defence of our own country, which might, in some cases, in some days in the future, lead to sanctions. Now, coming back to the project, that the General Motors Holdens have leveraged so much time and money and energy and ability in developing the technique of the manufacture of this car. I want to take this opportunity of extending to them my warmest congratulations. Not only do I say to them in tendering those congratulations, I say to others in the community and other lines of production that I hope they too will go and do likewise. But there can be no questions that General Motors Holden have shown a great initiative and enterprise in connection with the production of this car that no other organisation of that particular character has displayed in this country. This company has developed more rapidly, certainly shown greater initiative and greater enterprise than anybody else in developing this particular line of project. But I know it's not only been the technical personnel and the managers and directors, the vice president, terribly important people they always sound to me, these vice presidents, but right down along the lines to the workers, to the men and women who all must play their part. A project of this kind and the development of a company of this kind and this magnitude and the development of a project of this magnitude can only, after all, be made possible by the thousands of willing hands to toil, unsung and unhonoured, behind the project. And there is a link between them and the workers, and those are their foremen and their supervisors and their overseers. And they too can give a great deal of thought for the human relationships that exist between an organisation and the people who work for it. Excuse me for mentioning this afternoon the absolute necessity, and I think they've had evidence in their own organisation, of always giving some recognition to the very humble hand who may only even sweep the floor but play his part in providing some little mite towards an organisation such as this. But behind all this work, and behind the production that you see this afternoon, goes all the work of those skilled personnel, all the worry and thought of directors and organisation, and behind that the work of all those humbler people who have played their part in producing here this afternoon for you the spectacle of seeing an Australian car. On behalf of the people of this country, the initiative and enterprise they've shown in this project. And here this afternoon, after all that skill, after all that devotion to the industry, after that expenditure of money to produce this great national project here this afternoon, to have before you for your own personal observation and exhibition the result of all that work before you, the Holden car. Congratulations, General Motors, and even though the Prime Minister at the time did not say this, we'd like to thank everyone for joining in our celebration, and to the Prime Minister's right, we have a cake which is not 75 years old, which we hope to share with as many people as we can in celebration. So, from the Government of Australia of the time, on November the 29th, 1948, we thank you all for coming, and we also thank you very much for preserving the Holden car. Thank you.